what was the hardest thing for you to deal with at the beginning of your journey?
Oh, that's easy. Light work. I can tell you what that is. Hardest thing was facing myself. Okay.
Mm.
So, like I told you, I'm a gold Olympic level number. I don't like feeling my feelings. I feel intensely. It's one of my superpowers, but it also is crippling.
Mhm.
And I had all of those feelings that I was stifling away, that I was trying to run away from, a lot in the shame category, come and bubble to the surface. And I had nothing to numb them. That was absolutely the hardest thing.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to the Sober and Wellness Podcast. I am Abigail Padro, your host, and today we have another episode with an amazing girl, Michelle. Welcome to the
Hello.
podcast. How are you? How are you doing today?
I'm better than I deserve. I am so grateful to be here. Hello, all. I am Michelle, and the beautiful Abigail had reached out to see if I could share some of my wisdom. I said, hi, I had none of that. So let's get into something else.
I love it. I love it. So thank you so much. And foremost, thank you for sharing your story. It'll always help
Of course.
other people that might be thinking about doing this journey and, take some of their thoughts away from it and just see other people's experience with this journey because everyone is different, as we know.
Totally.
So let us start right away. Tell us what made you start this journey of sobriety and staying alcohol free.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. A question for you. I'm turning the question into a question is, do you mean when I first started or my most recent bout? Because I've been at this, I'm 37 now. I've been at this since I was 15.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's a long time.
It's a long time, baby. This is a lifelong disease. So it's one of those things. We can talk about what most recently got me in this new chapter. Happy to do that. Might shorten the podcast.
No, whatever however is your story. Sometimes we have like that moment that tell us, okay, this is it. We need to just keep this
Yeah.
alcohol free and that's it. But just tell us a little bit of everything so we can understand your story.
Okay. Yeah. So through there is one through line, right? Whether it's age 15, whether it's age 20, whether it's age And I'm telling you these ages because those are the different sort of milestones for me personally when I was like, okay, I'm committed to sobriety in whatever form that takes. And then after that 20 mark was also 32 and now 37. So the one consistent across the board about what got me to this point was, of course, everyone says like you just got so tired of being tired. And what was unique about this last one was I was not tired of living in the bottom. It was very unusual. I could see it. I recognized the same series of errors I was making, the same mental place I was in that was just god awful, but I didn't want to break the cycle. And I think that was beyond the most scary part of it. And so what got me to that point was other people for the first time. No one can get sober by themselves. You do it for yourself. You can't do it for other people. But this time at 37, many someone's reached out on my behalf because I couldn't string hours together without drinking. I didn't have just the self-confidence, the self-willingness, and the ability to save myself. And just watching somebody call the different inpatient facilities on my behalf, jump through the hoops that are insurance, showed me there was hope, right? Out of whatever I was dealing with, and that somebody was looking to help me. So, yeah, that was what got it going because it had gotten so bad.
Okay. And when you say gotten so bad, it was because it was daily drinking. What was the issue that you were having
Totally.
with alcohol?
So, really, the way I work and the way I operate is my drinking or using or name a thing was tied to my self worth. So, when I have issues with shame or self hatred, my next best indicated step was always a drink, right? Numb it out, stop feeling. So at my worst, I would pick up a drink 9 a.m. Originally started fun, right? I'm the fun girl. It's sexy. You can have a mimosa. You can, slap a sticker on a pig or slap lipstick on a pig and make it look pretty. And then it was I'm drinking by myself at 9 a.m., waiting for the liquor store or the grocery store to open. I'm drinking from the morning until I pass out at night. And that was very unusual. That was the height of my drinking.
That's where it took you, right? Because
Totally.
we don't get there right away. It starts always little by little till we get there.
Yeah. It's deeply progressive, and I only blacked out that one time. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I only said that after too many drinks. I won't drink vodka now. I'll only drink rum. And then you start making all these bargaining chips, and then, I won't drink before I go out. None of those things pan out. You end up always letting yourself down, and you end up drinking by yourself because this disease likes to get you isolated and likes to get you alone.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. So what do you think has been the benefit of starting this journey, or actually, let's say you're being at it for a long time, but
Yeah.
keeping at it because you know what, you're a strong person. A lot of people just give up and just forget about it. They keep
Totally.
doing
And
it.
totally, it is an absolute blessing of the people around me. So why have I kept doing it? Because I want to live. I know what it can be, and this is all love to the people who have raised me. I mimicked what I saw growing up. And like we do, kids are sponges, and I learned to drink a certain way and I learned to act a certain way. And I knew that if I kept being a certain way, I would end up in that position. And so I'm constantly at each stage going, I don't want to do that. I don't want to keep following the same model. So it's this ultimate desire to live, but live differently. And it's relearning and retraining myself, my brain, my body, my soul, what a new safety is, what a new experience is. And I falter a lot, but yeah, it's wanting to live a different way and be a different version of myself.
Yeah, I love the word you said, retraining, because that's how it feels actually.
Totally.
When you're starting actually the whole way today, like we were talking off camera, today is actually my 540th day, which is a year and a half perfect, like on the dot.
Let's go.
So yes, I'm excited about that. And what I have to say is that yes, I have retrained myself, and I am a totally different person. Like I think it goes by quarters to just put it in perspective, right? It goes by quarter. I was a certain way, and each time it just gets better. Not saying that I'm not taking the effort, because obviously it does take effort. But as you put time under your belt and you can stay consistent at taking that one step every day and each day staying sober,
Yep.
actually it does get better. People get scared at the forever thing and never drinking again, and I totally get it. I get it at all. I think I have never said I would never ever drink in my life completely as a statement, just because you just never know. But I don't want to, because I want to keep living this way. I am happy now, so that's the good thing about it. How has it been for
And
you?
you don't want to today, right?
Right.
Today you don't want to drink, right? And that's the beauty of it. We don't know what the future holds, but it's
Right.
gotten to you to a year and a half, just
Mm-hmm.
putting one foot in front of the other. And that's the beauty of it, right? You're living proof that if you are consistent, that if you show up for yourself and you go, huh, this is a little bit better than what it was, you keep building
Yes.
on that. Yeah.
I think I have to ask my friends what are they, I've never done it, but I'm gonna do it. What do they think
Get into
about
it.
me
Yeah.
being sober? Because
Hell
I don't
yeah.
think they believe it yet. I mean, they believe it now, they know. But I was the last person in this world that
Yeah.
you would say Abigail's gonna be like, there's no way. I was the girl, the party girl, the one that got everybody drunk. I was the one that would like to drink or make
Yeah.
everybody drink. The ones that didn't want to drink, I wanted them to drink. So
You didn't know why they didn't want to drink. What's wrong? What's wrong with Tony? What's going on with him? He's not a good time. Yeah, because Tony's totally fine. He has a beer and he's enjoying the night.
yes, and it's because it's a totally different perspective. It really is. But I had to
Yeah.
retrain myself, like you said, to
Yeah.
get where I'm at and to see things different. So right now at this take, how many days are you sober now?
So I'm at 142, which is
Yeah.
still early. Well, yeah. Actually, you know what? Yes.
No, don't say.
100%
I was
yes.
about to tell you.
100% yes.
Yes.
Because like I told you before this all started, I couldn't string together hours, minutes whatsoever. So the fact that now when something comes up, right, even
Mm-hmm.
the biggest or littlest thing in my life, that's not my first next step, right? So
Mm-hmm.
142, chef's kiss,
That's
baby.
amazing. Yeah, because
Yeah.
like you said, sometimes some people cannot do hours and we forget, you
For real,
know?
we forget
Yeah.
because we get away from it, and then all of a sudden you get away from a lot of things and you forget maybe how much it hurt when you were in that place. And then if you don't keep yourself honest, like you do with this podcast and talking to people and keeping yourself and others accountable, You can ultimately fall back into old patterns and be like, listen, I remember Abigail, the party girl. She's ready to go do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe there's another chance, another option for me.
True. So, what would you say was the hardest thing?
Mm.
What was the hardest thing for you to deal with at the beginning of your journey?
That's easy. Light work, I can tell you what that is. Hardest thing was facing myself. Okay. So, like I told you, I'm a gold Olympic level number. I don't like feeling my feelings. I feel intensely. It's one of my superpowers, but it also is crippling. And I had all of those feelings that I was stifling away, that I was trying to run away from, a lot in the shame category, come and bubble to the surface. And I had nothing to numb them. That was absolutely the hardest thing. The only way I can explain it, Abigail, is imagine your skin being on fire and literally you being a burn victim and people touching you, loving you, experiencing life with you in those first few months. It felt like they were touching your raw skin and having to self-soothe in multiple ways. But yeah, that's how it felt. It was raw, painful, and deeply overwhelming.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Dealing, that was me too. I did
Yeah.
use alcohol. I think a lot of us use alcohol to numb a lot of things. Besides boredom, a lot of people, I used it for everything, to be honest.
Anything under the sun. If
Yeah.
it was a loose Tuesday and the sun was, it was partially cloudy. I'm drinking. Yeah. There was
Yeah.
always an excuse.
There's always a reason that why not? It's five
Exactly.
o'clock
Exactly.
somewhere.
5 o'clock somewhere. Tina, it is 7 o'clock. It's 7 a.m. here.
So what do you do? What was your tools then to be able to deal with your emotions?
Yeah, so I needed a lot of tools because I knew I wouldn't have been able to string 2 days together. So for me, like a lot of people who struggle with addiction, there's an aspect of comorbidity. So anybody who doesn't understand what comorbidity is that you can be in the addict space, but you can also have depression or anxiety or a personality disorder. And I was dealing with comorbidity and I decided to get into one therapy, right? One-on-one therapy, talking it out, figuring out like, how do I make it to tomorrow not drinking? That was the first order of business, right? So I call that urgent care. Second order of business was how do I deal with the big emotions? People in my world, which I deal with BPD, which is borderline personality disorder, and that is those big emotions that I was talking about. I went into a group therapy setting. And in that group therapy setting, it's anywhere between 3 and 4 people, and we're working on skills. So when I talk about retraining, I'm talking about literally retraining how I respond to the stress stimuli. Stress looks different for all of us. So Abigail, what might activate you? Maybe it's around your kids, or maybe it's around how somebody, if somebody speaks in a certain tone. But for me, it might be the guy on customer service line. Listen, we don't know what's going to set us off, but
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, how we deal with those experiences is through different channels. Either it's a big flare up, it's a big upset, name a thing, or it's drinking. And so I've retrained the brain on how to listen to that, pause, and then take the next best indicated step. And there's a lot of skills around that. Third thing that helped me was a reframe. Reframe was the community element. I believe that we get sober loudly and we get sober together. Community is everything because from my days of AA, our addiction wants to get us alone. So the opposite of addiction is connection, right? Or something. I'm going to misquote a lot, but we're going to lean in to we almost nailed it quote. And that was it, so now I've got this element here. One-on-one, we're tackling what's happening interpersonally and what's happening in my mind. Number two, how do I get better with the skills, right? I'm at a deficit here. There's going to be areas I need to retrain and relearn since emotions are my biggest crutch. And then three, how do I have the emphasis of community, right? And that was reframed for me.
That is fantastic. Thank you for that. Those are good nuggets for people that might be struggling with that. And what about your family? How's it been the support from your family? I know you
They're
recently got
delicious.
married, right?
He talk about delicious. Oh, he's a beautiful piece of chocolate. Yeah. Recently got married. Everyone is fully on board. I have the greatest group of friends and family and community around me who saw me even at my darkest and just knew I'd get to the other side. I didn't. But you need those people who look at you and you're like, who look at you and just say, I know you can be better, even when you don't believe it. And not all of us are blessed enough to have that. I know that. But what I also know is I curate the people around me really well. I have a beautiful family, right? And I might have learned some flawed behaviors from some of those folks, but I know I'm deeply loved. And I know that they all want me to be the very best version, that sparkly, shiny version of myself, because I'm a joy to be around and I love living. And anyway, they wanted me to pull myself up in my bootstraps. They all surrounded me with love and said, listen, you tell us what you need, we'll get you into it. So, like I said, the
Wow.
first step for me was my girlfriend calling the inpatient centers, showing me that there was hope. So, needless to say, super strong community, but not all are blessed.
Yes,
How
not a
about you?
lot.
Did you just do it on your own, or did you have a community?
Actually, I started with a 30-day challenge when I started thinking about whether do I really have an issue.
Yeah,
I'm divorced and my ex-husband doesn't drink at all.
totally.
So he blames the alcohol and the relationship for being part of the divorce. I say other things. I do take accountability. I do believe that if I didn't drink at all, we'd probably be at it. He still had his demons. But yes, I fully take because you know what? It's not fun for a spouse to have a
It's
wife that
tough for a
drinks.
spouse, but the thing
Yes.
is both things can exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's elements, so many elements within a relationship, and there's no right or wrong, but ultimately you have beautiful kids from it, which is a gift from God, and worked out exactly the way it was supposed to. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
So
You're
thank you.
showing
So
the roadmap.
thank you, thank you. And just to answer your question, I started with those 30 days thinking, you know what? Because I didn't want to keep making the same mistake. Because what is the definition of an insanity? Keep doing the same
Yeah.
thing, expecting something different, right? So I'm like, you know what, Abigail, let's just prove to yourself that you don't have an issue. Started with the 30 days. I started seeing the reframe pop up ads everywhere. And I did 45 days. And then I got into the community and I started to see the community meetings because I didn't see it right away within a month. And then I started, and I will say that for me, my sobriety has to do with Reframe and that community. And I will always be so thankful because I've had the best support. I went through really difficult time, like losing my dad in December. While I was in the ICU or I was in the hospice or whatever I was, I will sometimes just share. People gave me love. I have the best of friends. I have a friend, Kara. You probably know her.
Yeah.
She loves pink, that Kara. Yes, that Kara. I love her. I met her in person. She came to Miami. I drove over there. And she sent me the cutest thing today, a picture together, and it said 540, alcohol free. It's just those little things that you get
Post
from the
those little
people
things.
that are away from you. They're not right here, but they're with you in your heart. And yes, definitely community. You cannot do sobriety alone.
Can't do it alone. You
I don't
can't.
care who you are or how you do it. You will slip, you will get back. It's just how it is.
Yeah. And you need that accountability. I mean, whether it's working out or working on yourself, everybody needs that accountability.
Or a therapist, like you said, something,
Exactly.
What I wanted to ask is because I've heard so
Yeah,
many people when it comes to therapists, they have such big issue finding a good one. Do you
totally.
have any tips for that? Because I've heard a
Mm,
lot of I'm looking for one myself but for me my thing is claustrophobia. I don't like not having control. I think that's the underlying
yeah.
issue.
Yeah,
But
of
it
course.
it is becoming something as like if I go to Disney and they don't take me out of the roller coasters, or if I go to a dentist and they have to do a procedure where I cannot take something off my teeth, even though it's irrational, it gets me into
It's
that
not
anxiety
irrational,
attack.
right? No, I completely understand that. I mean, it's a reason there it's a phobia. So it's not irrational. It's something about that makes you feel trapped and deeply out of
Hmm.
control and fearful, right? So I think to answer your question, when it comes to finding a therapist, it's just like dating. So buckle up. No, it's one of those things, right?
Yeah.
So my pro tip is actually try and go with the low hanging fruit. Let me explain there. Because therapy is deeply expensive. I don't care who you are, I don't care what insurance you have. It's just trying to get mental health assistance in this country is incredibly challenging. So if you live near a university, here's what I recommend you do. Go and find their psych department. These are already trained men and women who are on their final year of being apart and they need to get their hours. They're under the care of already established psychiatrists or therapists
Mm-hmm.
or psychologists, and they're eager. They have learned all of the newest, like, tips and tricks how to help people get into better stages of their lives, and they're at a fraction of cost. So typically it's on a sliding scale depending on your income. Now, why is it easier? One, there's usually more. Two, it's less expensive. And three, I mean, it's you have a lot of options within that university, right? So if somebody's typically training, you know, anywhere between 4 and 5 different doctoral students at a time. So I say start there and see what feels right. And it will give you more access. And sometimes you can even go in person. I think there's magic in going in person while you're trying to get help. So those are my tips. It's not going to be perfect. And if it doesn't feel right, listen to your gut, cut early. Nobody's feelings are going to be hurt,
Mm-hmm.
and keep it pushing.
Yeah, and you're paying for it. If it's not working out for you, I don't understand why
Totally.
it's so hard for people just let it go, you know?
Well, but we're all guilty of it. It's the same way when I go to the nail person. She can literally cut my finger off, and I'll be like, it's totally cool. I don't know what it is. There's certain professions that can do it. I can be like, thank you, ma'am. May I have another? And she's like, no.
Oh my God, that's true. Okay, so I guess another question that I have for you would be is what are the benefits that after you've been dealing with your emotion, because you're actually dealing with them now, you're not
Totally.
longer numbing them. What will be what's been the benefits of that?
Oh my God. It's a windfall of benefits. I think the biggest is that I am living in line with my values. All right. So who I always thought I was, but not living that way, is you're just constantly in friction and with yourself. Now I am living authentically who I am. I don't love all the parts of it, but I'm able to make choices that align with who I feel I am and want to be, which means I'm making harder choices, right? Blowing up. I'm not blowing up at a customer service line because I'm waiting for 45 minutes and X, Y,
Mm-hmm.
and Z. Yes, that's an embarrassing thing to admit, but for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's a trigger. I don't like sitting and waiting, and I'm deeply impatient. But I also have now learned in this process that that outburst has to go somewhere. And I never really thought of the person on the receiving end of that, which sounds naive. Hear me out, which sounds naive, but it's that displaced anger impacts their day. And more importantly, I then feel shame for the foreseeable future about how I treated and behaved around somebody. So I have to stop now, or I do stop now, and I pause and I feel uncomfortable, right? Remember that raw skin feeling
Mm-hmm.
where I want to have that visceral response, but I'm able to think, who do I want to be? Not just in this moment, but 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And do I think it's worth making someone else feel my current pain and discomfort? And it's just not in line. So it's living more in values
Mm-hmm.
and living presently. I also have learned a great deal about Michelle, and Michelle as a partner, Michelle as a businesswoman, Michelle as a wife. Some good, some not
Mm-hmm.
so delicious. And I'm figuring it out, right? And now I can tinker. I can figure it out. I can see what I want to keep. I can see what I want to do away with and start building those blocks, like I said, that are more value aligned.
That's huge what you said right now, which is you made me think about a time when I was in college. I was taking psychology. I was starting college, and that was one of my classes. And I will never forget to this day. I remember it's called cognitive dissonance when your
Totally.
values and when your actions doesn't match your values or your thoughts. So either you change your values or you change your actions, but they both cannot coexist. And I think that actually that is the root problem of a lot of people consuming alcohol in the world. If you think about it, they have two
Totally.
things fighting inside of them, and the only way, instead of doing the hard work, feeling the skin, having that raw moment or crying or whatever it is, we take that drink, we are like, well, forget it, then you lose sight of that fight for a little bit till the morning, and then you got to do it all over again. So I really love what you said because it made me realize of that And that's huge. That's a really easy way to put it to people. That
Well,
is the
it's
fight with
different.
alcohol.
I mean, you're telling me, I forgot that's exactly what it is. It's that cognitive dissonance. And then in that process, we give ourselves that permission
Mm-hmm.
to act a certain way, but then you can blame it on the alcohol. And then it's this perpetual cycle. And then, am I that person because I made that choice? But if I hadn't been drinking, it wouldn't have happened. You still ultimately did it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
regardless, somebody has to pay the piper. You feel the shame and you live in that cycle, right? And it's either in alcohol, but it's behavior based. And so breaking some form of cycle and saying either I want to be more value aligned or, like you said, change those values,
Mm-hmm. Either or.
either or. But
Yeah,
something's got to give. And it sounds like something gave for both of us.
definitely. It's amazing to see how much we do. Like when we want to change the way we think, it's hard, right?
So
It
hard.
is really, even if your values are there, it's hard. But one thing that it's interesting is when I do coachings with some of the women that are in my program and I ask them, what are your values?
Mm.
To this day, I really haven't had anybody to tell me boom, 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 like one, two, three, four. Like, no.
Totally.
Everybody has to think about it. And we come with the common stuff like health or they say things, but you know they're just going around. They have to Google it, what are values to really know. And I'm not trying to put shame on that because guess what? I was that one person too.
I mean, totally. We have to
I
teach
did.
ourselves these things. These are
Yeah.
we didn't learn values and we didn't learn taxes in school. So let's get back to school. I
Oh,
don't
that's
need
a
to
whole
know
nother thing.
geometry, but I definitely need to know a few of these other things.
You're fun. You're fun, Michelle. That is true. I do real estate, so trust me, taxes are a thing in my life.
For real, for real.
But yeah, it's just values, and that's when I started doing some of the deeper work. I started to say, you know what, Abigail, what are your values? And believe it or not, I did go to my friend Google and I put different values, and then I had to not just pick. I was like, really, what is important to me, and then I started looking at my behavior like what does my behavior tells me because whatever you do or is your priority, those are your values if you're
What
doing the
one of
work.
share with the group what was one of your values? Even just one of them.
Faith faith
Ooh, I like that.
it's my number one
Yeah,
value. Then I went to myself, health, because guess what, if I don't have health, because
you got
people go
nothing.
into family or something else, but if you're
Yeah,
not
they're fine. They'll figure
healthy,
it out.
yeah, if you go, there's no family, you're not going to be here if you're in a
Bingo.
self-destructive pattern, you know.
Totally.
So then yes, I do have family, my kids, and not because I'm a mom, because I love being a mom, which is the
Yeah.
difference, you know. And then I have connections. I am a person of connections. I mean, even this show is a
Look at
podcast.
what you're
What I do,
building.
I yeah,
Exactly.
I'm having a connection with you right now. I love meeting people. I wish we have to get into that one in a minute because it has
Love it.
changed. Oh my God, so much. And the last one is growth. I've always
Okay.
been, if I'm gonna be an addict of something, it's gonna be of learning. I've
Now that's
always been
big.
that person that loves to
All
learn
of you
things.
single men who just heard that, listen, you want a lady who's looking to grow, all right? That's good.
Yeah, it is true because if the moment you think you know it all, that's the moment you don't know nothing. You just stay stagnant.
What a no, exactly. What a boring. We all know those people who think they know it all.
Yeah.
You're gonna pass them at the party. Yeah.
So those are my top five. That's where
I
I
love
live on.
those.
And whenever I'm going to make a decision, I think about, all right, is that aligning to these values or is that taking me away?
So faith, health, family.
Mm-hmm. Connections
Hell
and
yeah.
growth.
Connections and growth. Okay. I love those are some seriously good ones.
Yeah. And they're simple. I don't have to complicate it. And the reason I thought about it is just like, I have different hats, right?
Yeah.
Real estate is my business, but I'm doing this podcast, I'm doing coaching. Sometimes I want to do too many things. I am that person that wants to do it all. You can't, obviously, but I manage my time.
Brilliant.
Which that's another issue that I've battled with. People are like, you're doing too many, there's always those voices. They're like, you're doing too many things, just choose one thing. I can't just choose one thing. That's just I am not that person and I'm not that one
Thank
person.
God you're not. Exactly.
Everybody's
And
different.
you're also you're aligning with your values in that. right? You want to be that person who is actively growing. This for you is actively growing, getting out of your comfort zone, doing 5 jobs. And for you, that represents an idea of growth. So, you know, what that may work for them, but for you,
Mhm.
you want to be in full growth mode all the time. That's rad.
Yeah. So now let's go to a good one, which
Those are the
is,
goodies.
the connections, friendships, socializing. How are you navigating socializing being alcohol
Yeah.
free?
Totally. So I am a wallflower. I'm just kidding. No, I'm a social butterfly. I love people. My husband's a human golden retriever and I follow suit. And it is deeply challenging being social, or at least certainly was in the beginning. Because like you, I identified as the ultimate party girl, right? I brought the party and the party was drinking and being loud and saying the things that are the most, you know, I guess scandalous because for me it makes me giggle, but ultimately this new chapter, I started to realize in the beginning, one, I couldn't go out. So for the first month or two, I think it was closer to 2 months, I didn't go out. It's sort of this cocooning phase where it's just getting your feet under you, stringing the days together, and starting to build your self confidence up. And then once about 2.5 months hit, I wanted to at least go out with a select group of friends who understood this is where I was at in my journey. Now, I've never been one to be triggered by other people drinking around me. Very bizarre. It's a unique thing in my own. In fact, because of the party girl nature, I'm like, guys, I can't drink on my behalf. If I could, I'd be licking the tap and just doing a dance, but I can't. So you guys have a good time for me. Now, they felt very uncomfortable about that, so we found a nice balance, especially in the beginning. But what has happened is I do want to drink in my hand. So I get deeply uncomfortable about the idea or not as much anymore, but about people getting uncomfortable with the fact that I'm not drinking. I've noticed more. So in my first early days of sobriety, like I said, back in 15 and such, I hated having to say like, oh, I'm not drinking. It made me really uncomfortable because people go, why? Is there something wrong? This, that, and the third. And they'd pry and what have you. And I would feel shame and shame and shame. Now, what I notice is when I'm not drinking and somebody pries and pries and pries, I typically go, okay, something's going on with them, that they care about what I'm consuming. So I'm able not to feel that shame, but I also don't really want to go into the spiel. You and we live in the sobriety world. We talk about it until we're blue in the
Mhm.
face. Sometimes you just don't want to talk about it. Not that I'm not acknowledging it. It's just like, I don't want to get into it right now. I want to have fun with my friends. I will always have a beautiful, delicious glass. I love a fancy damn glass. In it, some sort of sparkling aperitif that obviously is non-alcoholic. I'm learning to make drinks at home that give me the same bubble and sensation. So sparkling water is always on deck, but a little bit of flavor, a fancy glass, add an umbrella, call it a day. And then the element of taking things in doses. So like I said, the first 2 months, don't go out. Cocoon, nurture yourself. I couldn't do the same things that I could before. Just be with self and just stay in your urgent care mode, right? You're putting sutures and bandages on an open wound. Let things settle. Then go out with people you trust who know where you're at within your journey, or maybe they don't, but at least create that space so you can start getting your feet wet. Last piece. This is ultra graduated in terms of partying and all the other things. Play it forward before you get to the party. So
Mhm.
if you have a trigger and you know you're going to see Brittany and Brittany is going to be there, maybe she's going to be mean to you or shoot you a glance, and your little version of yourself is going to get their feelings or their nose out of joint. Walk through how that would feel in your body. Walk through your next best step and say, okay, at this moment, I'll either grab my partner's hand, give him a quick squeeze and say, like, I don't feel the best right now. Let's go walk to another part of the room, or go grab a club soda and a fancy umbrella drink, right? But know your next indicated step in a party situation. Because if you
Mhm.
play it forward, not just the tape of how you'll feel throughout the day, just take that next step. Because so many times I have messed up by when people have asked me, what would you like to drink? And in front of me is a cooler full of options, right? There's beer,
Mhm.
there's wine, there's sodas. And in that split second, that 3-second decision, I have made the right choices and I have made the wrong choices. So
Mhm.
those are the things. Those are the pro tips I can give you, but nurture yourself, stay close to the nest and people you trust, and then plan ahead.
I love it. I love it. And one thing that we should focus is, like you said, the first to 2 months. You haven't said, it's not like you have to stay forever in a cocoon, because I think when you're starting a journey, obviously you're taking the first step. You don't know what it's ahead. But I'm
No.
telling you, because I'm a little bit ahead. I'm still a baby, but
Let's go.
it is getting
Oh, I'm
better.
sorry. A year and a half. You're a little bit farther ahead. Let's go.
My dad, what's funny is my dad was a sober person his whole life. He never drank. He was never a drinker. My mom too. I grew up with no alcohol in my home at all.
Interesting.
Zero. Actually, maybe I'm thinking since my parents were very Christian and very religious, that type of like really it's straight. You got to try to do everything by the
Totally.
Bible, which, I can respect now that I'm an adult. But at that moment, it was all hell
Yeah,
break loose.
of
I
course.
think maybe I have to look into it to see. I'm not saying it's their fault. It's me, but I don't know if my curiosity for alcohol, it was never in my house, but it was always put as that's the devil. It's bad. It's that type of situation. I had two uncles that died from actually cirrhosis.
Yeah.
One of them from the same mom and dad, from my mom's side. One of them died at 41. He's actually was in his casket at 42 because his
Holy smoke.
liver just ruptured because he didn't stop drinking.
It's definitely genetic for you. Question, I wanted to stop and ask, do we know if grandma and grandpa were drinkers on either side?
No, none that I know of. I don't think so. I just met the grandmothers,
Yeah.
um, not the granddads. So I don't know, but they never told me that, so I'm not sure. But the other
I would
brother,
explore it further. Yeah, after
I
you decide
am.
the
I'm
other
gonna
brother.
actually. That's a good question. I'm gonna ask my mom.
There's a through line there with the two uncles. So that tells me, and then obviously yourself, right? We are genetically predisposed. And whether we're adult children of alcoholics, there's certain behaviors that come from the parents, potentially your parents, certainly mine, that they then either, whether there's alcohol in the house or not, they're already predisposed. And then we, the beautiful little swans that we are, imprinted. So I would definitely poke a little further
Yeah,
if
that
mom and
I
dad are
like
willing.
that. Yeah, I am. But the other uncle actually did live like another 12 years because he stopped drinking.
Good for him.
And yeah, you see the difference. So and they were brothers. So the thing is,
Wow.
sometimes your choices matter how long you live. Even though they made the same choices at one point when they were young,
Yeah,
one decided to say, hell with that. I'm just going to go all in with alcohol and I'm going to die of it. Right. And he did. Left
totally.
4 children, little, with,
Yeah,
no dad. And then the other one decided to hell with alcohol. I'm not drinking anymore. And he lived
yeah.
another 12 years. So,
I'm telling you.
that there is a difference.
That's
So
a
if you're,
perfect example. Like we
yeah.
can truly change it. And I have so much empathy for your uncle because like you and I know, sometimes it is bigger than ourselves. Addiction is incredibly real. It's incredibly pervasive. And he did not want to leave his 4 kids. He just
Mm-hmm.
couldn't get away from it. Right. And
Yep.
when you feel handcuffed to your shame, when you feel handcuffed to a habit, I have, and we have like deep empathy and understanding for how tough that would be. It's just that's living in your own hell. And it's terrible that he experienced the ultimate price. But on the flip side, look at his brother. He may have been that example to help save him and help him be the father that he needs to be.
Yep. Totally. And now for me, it has changed so much. So I went to this phase that at the beginning, for you're trying to figure it out how this thing works, right? I
Totally.
am another person like you. People drinking around me doesn't trigger me whatsoever. Why? I don't know. Really, I don't
Yeah.
have an explanation of it because it totally should.
It made me at the grocery store and all of a sudden I want to drink. That I'll
Yeah,
never understand. But for whatever reason, it's
that
actually
doesn't.
I'm telling you,
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. Who knows what will be your trigger or mine? But yes, there are certain things that will flare up. But anyway, to your point, you were saying you don't get impacted by your friends
I
taking a drink.
don't. Now, if I get maybe into a fight with my significant other, like a really big fight, that is a heck of a trigger for me. Oh my God,
Of
that will
course.
be like top notch. You see?
Yeah.
So you have to find to what you said at earlier in the podcast starting, it's that you do get to find who you are, how does Abigail really behaves, what matters to her. And for the first
Yeah.
time, and I'm 40 years old, for the first time, I know myself.
Yeah.
I'm not being persuaded. I'm not being influenced whatsoever.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I don't even follow a lot of the stuff that I don't want to see
Good.
because people need
Good
to
for you.
understand that this little device that we have, it's constantly bombarding us and telling us
Yep.
how to behave,
And
right?
how to look and how to feel and how to name a thing and why we're
Everything.
not measuring up. Listen, I do that enough in my own head, Apple.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Like I don't
We
need
don't need
you more.
more.
And good for you for limiting it, right? That's also
Yes.
the growth element. That's Abby growth factor right here. And that's saying, okay, I put that aside so I can be here. I can be the best version of myself for me, for my partner, for my kids. Because the moment you get on the device, that just
Listen,
compounds all the other
it's
things.
simple. It's like AI.
Yeah,
Think about AI. So the AI, because everybody's with AI, so we have to make an analogy about AI. I got one.
love it.
So
Good.
now there's these bots and these things that you can make AI to be your assistant, whether you are whatever is your profession, you make AI. And you have to feed it. Like you have to feed what knowledge, what do you like, and another way to act like you. So the way you do that is by feeding them articles, how you are. My point is, it's the same thing for us, but from the point of when you're constantly consuming and seeing what other people's lives are. And if you're a person that you're like a lot of us are struggling with alcohol, listen, don't be looking at people drinking. Movies that are too much into like drinking alcohol, maybe that gives you a perspective of, oh, that's a trigger. I want to drink, then limit those. It's just we have to be sensitive to what we put in our mind. So now what I do, since growth, it's one of my values, right? I consume a lot of the things that I want to get better at, that I want to be a better person, a better mom, a better,
Nor she
so
does
yeah.
real estate. I mean, so then you start pulling at those threads and those lead in that growth element, right? And so many of us, once we start saying, oh, wow, there's a lot more out here outside of this realm of alcohol, you're like, I didn't know I had hobbies. This is awesome.
Yeah, right? Like, really, I like
Gardening was a
this?
good time. Yeah.
I've tried so many things. I tried gardening, but the vegetables did not.
Try it all. Yeah, no, exactly. All of our tomatoes are dead, but listen,
Yeah,
we tried, we were fired up about it. But yes, it's exciting. It's exciting to find new versions of yourself. And
it is.
what a gift. What a gift it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do have to say, I do have 9 plants that have stayed alive for the
Okay, show off.
last, I
Yeah,
don't
all
know,
right.
8 months. So that is a good thing, just not
I have like
vegetables.
one loose like rose plant. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing the Lord's work over here.
Yeah, it's not my thing, people, but at least they're staying alive. And some of them sometimes look sad, and then I'm like, oh my god, I need to take care of it. But
Yeah.
anyways, that's just to say that you will explore new things. So instead, because what I want our listeners to understand that instead of thinking from a place of we're lacking because we're leaving alcohol, is the other way around. You're actually adding time to your life because alcohol takes
You know,
a lot of time. How much time did it take from you?
in the end, there it took literally probably 18 hours of my day. Right. So
Wow.
that's not compounding. I mean, I was drinking from the moment I woke up to the moment I passed out. Can you imagine? I wasn't living. Right.
No.
And I wasn't living because I didn't want to feel. So it took everything from me. And I was willing to let it do that because I had fully given up. And now, I mean, I have too much time in the day. I need to go on the growth journey with you, maybe adding hobbies.
Let's do
I'm telling you, I'm ready. I'll get into real estate. It'll be a great time. No, but I mean, literally, I don't mean to make light of it, but yeah, life is magnificent now, and doesn't mean it's perfect. Like I said, I still very much feel those big expansive emotions, and I will deal with that for the rest of my life as well, coinciding with this addiction. But I do look forward to what I get to do every day. I mean, now I can just say the simple things. Like my husband kisses me goodbye every morning before, and he always has, regardless of a drunken outburst the night before or whatever it may have been. But always consistently, every day, he'll give me a kiss before he leaves. And now I can be awake for it, gets to see this hair in a side pony and hot breath. But like I'm awake, I'm excited, I'm not hungover. And it's such a gift because it'll start my day on our day. So it's the little things, but I've got that back.
Yes, it's the little things that makes our life in reality. Our lives are, are the little things that we do throughout the whole entire existence. The big things are amazing, right? You got married, you had a beautiful
The big
wedding,
wedding, the fancy rings.
the baby got born, yes. But you know what? In reality, the little things is what makes your life. But one thing that I also just realized that you mentioned is a different perspective of when people have way too much time in their hands,
Mm.
that can be also a problem. This is
Preach,
why I
sister.
say
Preach.
if you're living a life without purpose, and when I mean purpose, it goes way beyond a career or
Totally.
entrepreneurship. It's just purpose to wake up and say, you know what, I'm living because I love doing these things. And we are all different, right? We all have
Yeah.
different things. But if you're living a life without purpose, I think that's the number one thing that people should get into and dive in.
Yeah.
And if you have way too
Completely agree.
much time, then get yourself some things to do. Try new things. If you have that
Get busy.
opportunity that you don't have to be in a job, I feel myself, I'm very lucky because I chose entrepreneurship just because I can't be in a
You're hungry.
place for
You're
8
hungry.
hours.
Yeah.
And that too. But the one thing, like, I respect so many like people that have these beautiful careers, lawyers, doctors. I really admire that more so because they can focus in one thing. They can focus on one thing and they love it, and that's passion, and that's something that you go and you do every day. And I know they're not all perfect, but that's a beautiful thing. Now, on the other hand, you have people like me that are more of a beautiful butterfly running around that loves entrepreneurship because I can be stuck in one place.
But both things are so special in their own right. Like, I've always thought the same thing. I'm very similar to you, Abigail. Like, when I think about somebody who's like at age, 8th grade, they're like, I'd like to be an accountant. I'm like, what? Like, and just became an accountant, like, knew from the jump. More power to you. But
Yeah.
there's also this beauty element here where you're talking about
Mhm.
you don't just have to stay pigeonholed into this small box. You can do all of these wonderful things and you're doing them all incredibly well. But I want to just dive in one iota further, which is get busy, right? So I do think that that is sort of leveling up in the sobriety world. In the first 2 months, stay home. Stay home, take care of
Uh-huh.
yourself, put a bandage on the wound, and just put a mask on your face. The whole idea, put a mask on yourself before anybody else. That is your only job, is to take care of you. And then once you're like, okay, I've got my feet on the ground, I've got a pulse again, then get busy. Figure out something, anything, because it's so much easier to play the comparison game when you have too much time on your hands. You think everybody's thinking about you. Guess what? We're all thinking about ourselves. And just get busy. Do something that sparks joy, because life is too short. You know this, Abigail. You lost your dad. We've all lost somebody dear to us. Like, tomorrow's not promised. So get busy, get hungry, and get curious.
Love that. So we're getting
Good.
to the end of our podcast, which you
Lucky
make
you.
it.
You're done done having me talking to your ear.
No, I love it. You are making me laugh. You're amazing. I love it. I love people that have your personality. That's just a gift that you can make,
Listen,
you can make
gift
all
of
of us
gab.
laugh. I imagine you. So it has to be your husband must be having a lot of fun with you. That's
Oh my God,
awesome.
he's funnier than I am. Not
Oh,
only is he
really?
hot, but he's funny. So it's double trouble in this household.
A
Yeah.
beautiful couple then. I love it. So I always end my podcast with a question that I ask all my guests, which is, what is the one key takeaway or benefit or anything that you can tell someone that is starting this journey that is either curious, sober curious, or just started but it's struggling?
Yeah.
What will you tell them?
Okay. This just popped up. I've never said this before. So buckle up.
Yes.
Person on the other side of your ear pods or beyond. Remember that version of yourself, whether you were a little boy or a little girl, and you were so unwavering, right? You would know the difference between right and wrong, and you would stand on the playground and just say, no, that's not nice. That isn't right. And you spoke with such conviction and you were so sure. And then somewhere in between, I think we all lost that little version of ourselves, that strength in our voice, that just knew what was right for us. Listen to that little person, because for so long we have been stifling it. So long we have been stifling that version of ourselves that was so truly for ourselves. The world has beaten us down. We've had relationships that have hurt us. We have had losses in our lives. We feel like everybody is against us. Maybe that's the case. So go back to that little version of yourself, the only one who had you, and listen to him or her and ask them for guidance. Is this the right choice for me? Just for today. Not forever, but just for today. Is that the right choice for me not to drink or not to use or to not to X, Y, and Z? That's it.
Beautiful advice. I love it. I know that things like that, um, guys, are amazing, because they come from the heart, they come from the work, they come from everything that we're doing. And the great thing about this community is that no one feels like they're better than the other one. And that is strange in this society that we live in to find
Yeah,
that.
no one is better. We're all just a bunch of people trying to figure it out, right?
Uh-huh.
Luckily, we found each other and we're doing something to help build each other up. So there's no high horse in being deeply committed and addicted to something outside of yourself. That could be food, that could be sex, that could be drugs, that can be alcohol. There's no hierarchy here. We all lose if we end up succumbing to these things because it'll kill us. Like it did with your uncle, like it could with us if we made the next wrong step or next bad choice for us. So if we
Absolutely.
listen to ourselves, listen to our little voices in ourselves and say, what will little Michelle do? Right? Would she pick that up? She'd go, ew, gross, beer's disgusting. Go,
Uh-huh.
you're right. Maybe I won't take it.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for being part of the Sober
My
and Wellness
pleasure.
podcast. It's been truly magnificent to have you here. It's been a great time and a lot of good nuggets
My
for all.
absolute honor, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. It's amazing. People sharing the story. And I love listening to you guys' story. So thank you for that. And for all of you that are listening or watching, thank you so much for watching another episode. As you know, and I've said before, if you need any help with coaching and you want to do sobriety and you're not sure how, listen, I'm here to help. I do offer a 45-minute free Zoom meeting, which we can talk about how I can help or anything that I can help you with just to help you start that journey. I am here. Just send me an email. It will be in my show notes. And that's it for today. Thank you very
Gotta
much.
give me that email.
I will. But
I love it.
thank you guys. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye, guys.